Do-do-do-dum. Hello, and we are back for our very first show of 2018. What is it today? It's the 1st of May, so it's a bit of a late start, but we'll come back for the reason for that in a minute. First of all, hello, Anthony.
Hello, Scott, and hello, everyone. Yeah, we've, as usual, technical difficulties. Never run smoothly, but we're back, and hopefully we can start doing these again on a weekly basis.
Yeah, we've already got a lot of shows planned and things we're going to talk about. We're going to get back to interviewing people again, but we're also going to do a lot more shows about how we use Character Animator, both the technical side of it and also the beneficial sides of it. You can use Character Animator for a lot more things than just doing animations for your own little shows and whatnot. There's actually quite a lot of professional stuff you can do to make money. So there's plenty of things we're going to talk about in the future. But before we get to that, on today's kickoff show, Anthony's going to actually be leading the way. So, Ant, why don't you explain to everybody what you are doing in today's show?
Well, the plan today was we're just going to go basically walk through how I would set up a 3D character ready for Character Animator. I mean, it might not, this might be over a couple of episodes due to the time it takes. But I thought as we have a chat and talk to people, anyone who's online, we'll just work on the character. And when we finish, we'll put the character up on our store as well, available for download.
So are you kind of, because to be honest, I didn't even know we was doing this show today. Anthony just said, "Do you fancy doing this? I've got this character ready to go." And I said, "Fine, okie dokie." But so in the dark as much as a lot of you are out there. So, and are you building a 3D character from scratch, or is it a bit like Blue Peter where you're going to be showing bits of it, but you've already got one ready made so you can skip ahead? Or are we going to literally be watching you throughout the whole process?
Well, I've got a character already built. There was a concept already done. The model's ready. But what I'm going to do is go through the process of actually turning that 3D model into a character animator puppet. So I'm going to break the model apart. I'm going to put on the lip sync model, how I'd go about modeling the mouth shapes and rendering them out and setting it all up. Just basically, I'm just going to build the character like I would if I was to turn this character into a puppet, and I'm going to just record it live as we go. And like I say, it may take 1 or 2 episodes, maybe even 3. But we get the ball rolling, and as we're going, feel free to ask questions, and I'll answer as much as I can.
Yeah, while Anthony's getting on doing what he's doing, I will be manning the computer, and if anyone posts any questions on either YouTube or Facebook, I'll be reading them and we will be answering them in real time. That is the whole reason that we do a live show, so that we can answer any questions put to us live. Okay, so right, Ant, why don't we get this going?
Well, there's if you feed me the questions, either you answer them or I'll answer them. But MCKKI, I was just asked, so you're going to make the character with Photoshop? We will be making the character with Photoshop. What we'll be doing first is making the character in Lightwave 3D, but that's what the character will be modelled in, and then we will be modelling the different facial animations in Z Brush, and then we will render them out and bring them into Photoshop. So Photoshop will be where we put the actual rendered images together, but to create the rendered images, to get the 3D effect from the model, we're going to build that in Lightwave and ZBrush first. So
I think that answers that question. Right, so what's happening? Are you going to take us to the cinema room, or are we going to get a... Oh, there you go then. That answers that question.
There we go. We get a full screen view, and we're still here. So that's all good.
I mean, I am not a 3D designer at all. Never have been. Me and Anthony have been working together since we were kids. Whilst when we got to our teens, Anthony branched off into learning 3D. I kept it a bit old school and carried on learning 2D animation. So a lot of this is completely foreign to me. So I'll kind of be, interviewing Antony as we go and finding out exactly what he's doing.
Okay,
And
well,
as I said earlier, if there's any questions, I'll keep an eye on them and I'll pop them to Anthony for you.
okay. Well, what we've got here is the character that I've designed. It's some sort of strange twig stickman. It was a concept that I come up with. I was gonna finish it, never got time. But the character's all ready. It's to a state that I can actually turn this into a character animated puppet now. So the first thing that I'm going to need to do with it is create morph targets to get the facial expressions so we can animate the lip sync and expressions. So the way I would do this, like I say, I'm just going to go through my normal workflow. I might be doing things wrong way or whatnot, but this is just kind of the way I'm doing it. And like I say, if anyone has any better suggestions as I go along, feel free to let us know. Okay. First thing I'm going to do.
Yeah, we're not precious.
No, not at all. Like I say, like most people, I think, who work in this sort of industry, you can't have your own quirks when working. I know there's quicker and more efficient ways of doing things sometimes, but you get stuck in a rut to say. So let's see. What I'm going to do first is separate the head from the body, because the body and the head is all one mesh at the moment. The big problem we have when making 3D models is not having clear separate elements, and it does get a bit tricky, so we have to get a bit creative with the ways that we can kind of blend them together. So like I say, first thing I'm going to do is separate the head and bring this onto a new layer. Here is a head on its own, nothing else. I'm going to take some of the face for reference.
And what program are you using at the moment?
I'm using Lightwave 3D.
And is that, if there's a kid out there, just starting to get into 3D animation and whatnot, can you tell us a bit about that software? Is it the one which is used by most of the industry? Is it, the staple software to go to, or is there a more dominant one? Is there a reason why you've chosen Lightwave over, Maya and Blender and all them?
I fell into this. I've used 3D Studio Max, I've used Cinema 4D, and I fell into this because the studio that I work for, they used it, and it's what I got into. And to be fair, I do like this software. It's not mainstream really. It is mainstream, but not as big as all the other names out there like Maya and 3D Max and Cinema 4D. But it does a good job, and it's got a really good community of people who work on it. So I would recommend it to anyone. And also, it's a lot cheaper than some of the big name brands, and you can still get the same sort of effects with it.
Why? How much it costs? What's the kind of price comparison? You're taking it as a given. People know this, but
Yeah, I don't even know that. So I think it's around $700 or something like that. It's under $1,000, whereas most softwares are. I think most of them are licensed now, and you'd be paying. I don't even know, but I know it is a lot cheaper.
I mean, I'm I'm quite happy with the license thing. That for ages I've been wanting to learn Toon Boom Harmony. Now, one of the main things to stop me from learning Toon Boom Harmony is the fact that I'm just so busy and inundated with work. So I have very little time. However, that aside, it is very expensive to get into from what I've looked at. Whereas with Adobe, you can pay a relatively low amount for quite a lot of software. Harmony's, I think it's quite expensive. And also the trial period, I think last I looked was like 2 weeks. And 2 weeks ain't exactly a lot of time if you've only got an hour or two per night, if you're lucky. So, though I hear Toon Boom is a fantastic program, and it is one of the industry staple programs for in the animation industry, I just haven't had the time to get round to it at the moment. Anyway, before we carry on,
what I am doing at the moment is I need the face that we've got on this character is a bit too smiley. I need to now create the first thing I'm going to do is create a a default pose. So we just want a closed mouth. This will be the face that it all goes back to, and everything will animate from. So I am going to. I've saved that file. Like I say, because this software, I'm going to go use Z Brush now, and the whole Go Z thing doesn't work great with this at the moment. It did. There was a bit of a bug at some point. So, like I say, bear with me. This is the way I do it. The main thing is I'm going to show. I want you to see what we start with, and then the final product in the end. Let's see. If I Go Z this now, so take our model into ZBrush. I mean, ZBrush is a great bit of software, brilliant for character animation and organic modeling. I find
Can you animate in ZBrush? I thought ZBrush was just for like modeling the 3D models, which you then brought into different software.
Yeah, you can't. It's not an animation software, sorry, but like it's great for like organic modeling.
Building a character.
Yeah. So like,
can you rig a character in ZBrush, or is it just like the texture that you build?
You just build. It's a sculpting tool.
Can you like I say, I don't know anything about 3D side of things, so can people make a living out of just being like a ZBrush artist and just doing a texture character build that then gets passed on to someone to rig?
Yeah,
or does it not work like that?
A lot of people use this for concept design. So say, I can Disney films and stuff like that. Someone would like come up with the concept, build the character. I guess they'd use ZBrush to put it together to knock up, because you can like literally, you can get a model and change the look of it in no time, and then once that's to a point where you've got it looking how you want it to, then you'd bring it into the other software and rig it up and do all that stuff, and you bring it into the actual animation software. So like I said, now at the moment I'm just trying to find a happy default pose.
While you're doing that for a second, I'm just going to answer a question that's been posed by McKick. He's the one who asked about Photoshop earlier. Anyway, he said, I have a 2D puppet and the head keeps moving away from the body. Please help. Right, well, first of all, the way that we learned Character Animator when we first got into it in beta mode over a year ago, is that we back engineered. So we go and get models, and there's lots of models now. You can go on to the Character Animator Adobe page, and there are lots of free models. In fact, if you go onto Character Animator start page, there's a bunch of free model links there. I suggest that you download them, and you can see exactly how they're all rigged up. And hopefully you should relatively quickly, in a couple of minutes, find out where you're going wrong. What I would personally suggest that you might be doing wrong is if the head is basically the way I have it set up, you got your top folder, which is your puppet folder. Embedded in the puppet folder is then your head and body folder, and obviously in the body folder is the body, and the head folder is the head elements. Make your top layer, the puppet layer, independent, and then make the next folder where you got head, that shouldn't be independent, but the next folder within that, which would be your frontal folder for your front facing view, make that independent. So that way you still got all your free head movement, but the body will still move and sway with your motion on the camera. Like I say, go on to the start menu, download a puppet, and you'll be able to back engineer. If you go onto our own page, Digital Puppets, so www.digitalpuppets.co.uk, go onto our store, and we've got a whole bunch of free characters. Feel free to download them, and again, you can see exactly how we got them rigged up, and you should be able to see where you're going wrong. If you have any more problems, just let us know, and we'll try and help you further.
What I've just done now, if you're still watching in the background, is I've set up the default face. Like I say, I'm not going to go into too much detail on how it all works and all that. It is just the process. But at the moment, we've now set a default face for this character. What I will do now is start doing the mouth shapes. And, I always just use, there's so many different references online. This is one I've literally just grabbed because it's never on the computer. But, something like this will do. This will give you a good guide for how you want your mouth shapes to do. So, I'll start building up all the ones that we need for Character Animator. And, I'll start modeling these and then bringing them in as morph targets on the main model. So the first one we need is an A or A. So, it's not far. It doesn't have to be exact, but
I find it, it's like you're... Sorry, what?
I'm going to say, I don't think you've even seen how I do this normally, do you?
No.
The process of it. But and it depends, it all depends on the character and how subtle you want it to be or how exaggerated it is.
So what, you go into Z Brush and you build each of your mouth shapes in Z Brush, do you?
Yep.
And then how is that animated then on a frame by frame? So what, the texture is just... Alright. Because the way I do it, obviously, this is what I say to you, actually, this is one of the main benefits of 3D. It's easy to adjust things, where in 2D, you got a lot more layers.
It is, but it's still essentially 2D, so you still have to go back in and render it all out. So, yeah.
Yeah, but if you want to for example, if you want to do a side view of the head, you just turn the camera to the side and then render out all the mouths again. Where in 2D, I've got to completely build a new headset, a new set of mouths from a different angle, depending how severe the head turn is.
Yeah. I mean, it is a lot easier, in that aspect. That's yeah. I always forget what all the mouth shapes are. That one I'll do. Like I said, I'm just doing this quite quickly.
Well, while you're doing that, what I would recommend to anybody watching, if you're just getting into animation, it doesn't matter if it's 2D or 3D animation, a book which is often muted. Is that the right word, muted? Muted? Anyway, a reference book which is often cited as the Bible for animators is the Richard Williams animation book. It doesn't matter if you're 2D or 3D, the principles are all the same, the whole squash, stress, anticipation, and it also has loads of, mouth shapes, eyes, movement, the whole lot. Big, massive book, and I would recommend it to all new beginners in animation.
To be honest, the reference I normally use when doing the my lip sync is the one that is from that book. I've used that for years. I couldn't find it today. Like I said, I didn't have it on this computer. So,
So you have also got the good old-fashioned mirror, which is what most animators use, and which I personally do use a lot. When I'm doing mouth shapes or expressions and stuff like that, I do still just rely on looking in the mirror and just, seeing how it changes and whatnot, and that's what I go by as my main reference.
Let's see, what other stuff got? Got I always forget which ones we actually we need.
Yeah, because character animator is from the character's perspective, so it's the character's left and the character's right. Whereas when you're looking on screen, it's the other way around.
I'm gonna do like I said, I haven't got the tongue and the teeth. That makes a big difference to the facial.
So what are you actually doing now? You're going to actually go through all the different mouth shapes?
Go through all the different mouth shapes, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like if you...
And are you going to, when you get through to the animation, are you going to have it single vismes, or are you going to animate the mouth shapes?
I'll animate the mouth shapes.
You're separating the nose there.
Yeah, I've only got the nose in at the moment, literally just for a reference, so I can get an idea of how how the face looks.
All right. Well, I think what we should do at this point is you talk. Well, obviously there's something important to when you're going on about your process. But if you feel like you have to spend a few minutes, just getting it done,
I can talk. I can
let
talk
me
while
know.
I'm doing this now. It's just
Yeah, but I don't want to be interrupting you and jabbering on
no. I'll
about
tell
something
you to shut up
irrelevant when. Well, fine. Oh, so it's now a situation where we can talk a little bit while you're setting up them different. What mouth shape are you trying to do there, by the way?
I'm doing O.
That's massive. That's far too big.
Yeah, but it's exaggerated. Like I say, you can have. Sometimes I go subtle. Sometimes I go. And also when you set it up, you don't actually have to use the hot because it's a morph target. You can you have sliders. So you can actually.
Yeah, I get you.
And also, it's good.
You
To
see,
have
I'm more Pacific because when I'm working in 2D and I'm building all the different layers for a mouth, the mouth shapes is often the most time-consuming part of building a 2D digital puppet. And often, if you got quite of a complex mouth shape where it's going from I don't know, like it's making that kind of almost like a number 8 mouth shape from a straight mouth. Then you got all bloody masks that you have to do. So I haven't got the luxury of messing around and saying, oh, I'll just take this or I'll take that. It has to be precise.
Yeah,
I think 3D is a bit more beginning.
It's easier for me to come back and adjust it if I didn't like it. I can come back and just change it later on.
One day I'll have to do a tutorial on how I build one of my 2D puppets.
Well, yeah, I just thought the idea of this was just I thought, it shows people how we go about it. I don't think you'll be able to get much from it. Like,
well, I mean, there's already quite a lot of tutorials about Character Animator in regards to building a 2D puppet. So a lot of people are already quite acquainted with the process if they're interested in looking online and finding them. Whereas I don't know if there's any, of the 3D process.
I think there is on lynda.com. I think there's a guy who done...
yeah, but you got to pay for that, don't you?
I'm not sure, but he's done a series of Character Animator tutorials, and I think he does touch on the 3D stuff at some point. But like I say, there are going to be 3D design character animators out there and designers who know how to do this and can probably do this a lot better than I can. So it's just kind of a heads up, say like, this is what I'm doing. Check it out. Like,
well, it's the old saying, standing on the shoulders of giants, which basically means building on what's gone before. So someone does something and then someone will come along and do it better, and I'm always watching tutorial videos on Character Animator. Like just today, I was watching one where that Viking character and he has the rotating arms, the rotating forearm. I never even thought about that, and it's a great little tip. And so thank you very much for letting me know. I'm definitely going to be using it now.
I remember what's that company called now? Zoo? Something Zoo? Blue?
Yeah, I think they did a live tutorial just about a week ago or something like that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it.
It's a animation studio just called Zoo, or is it?
I think it's something Zoo. I'm not too sure.
Something Zoo. I don't know. Just put Zoo Character Animator. They'll probably come straight up.
Oh, look on look on OK Samurai's look on OK Samurai's videos. It'll be the last video that he done, I think.
All right. He'll be releasing. What is it? It's like I say, it's the 1st of May today, so it won't be long until he's releasing this month's edition of his, community spotlight.
Well,
in fact, talking about. Go on, you carry on.
I was just going to say probably the same thing as you.
Well, I haven't got my glasses. Well, my cartoon guy has got his glasses on, but I haven't got mine on in the office. But we are actually interviewing Dave Warner from Character Animator again next week. I don't think it's Tuesday though. I think it might be a Wednesday or even possibly Thursday. You'll have to keep an eye out. You'll get a notification about that soon. And we did already interview Dave. He was one of our first interviewees last year when we was just discussing Character Animator. But since then, Character Animator has gone fully mainstream. It is no longer in beta. The community has grown exponentially. A lot has been happening. A lot of big profile things have been happening as well. So we are talking to Dave once again next week and discussing the progress of the software and the animators in the community. So we're looking forward to that. And yeah, so that's one to look out for. Right, and so what's happening now?
Same thing still, just going through, doing the mouth shapes, trying to make sure I've got them all. What one do I need? I haven't done F yet. Like I say, I normally take a lot more time and care in doing this, but...
Well, while you carry on, we have got another message on the old YouTube chat. So hang on, let me just read it. Paul S. Hello, Paul S. Hi guys, just wondering what you are currently using for the characters for the live streaming. Right, okay, well, obviously we're using Adobe Character Animator, and I'm actually still using the beta version. Now, there is no, it's not because I prefer the beta version, it is purely because I have been really lazy. I've built a really complex character, and he's got tons and tons of triggers. I've hardly even used any of them so far. But when Character Animator went to the the proper version, to the CC version, they did slightly tweak it. Now in the beta version you could have lots of different layers, which you still can have, but in the beta version you had lots of different layers. And so, like, for example, when this one or this one, now in beta, all them different layers could be different lengths. So the mouth might only have 5 frames in it. The eyes might have 7 frames in it. The hair might have 6 frames in it. But it didn't make any difference. However, in the CC version, when you've got, because I've set up a new way of grouping all the triggers together in a group, all the layers have to be the same. If you don't have all the layers the same, then any layer which is, like, let's say if you got the nose, the mouth and the ears changing and there's 5 frames in each of them, but you got like the top of the head has only got 3 frames in it, then it will disappear. It causes all sorts of problems. So to update my head into CC, I have to, it's a lot of work, basically. It's a lot of work. And as I mentioned earlier on in the show, me and Antony here at Digital Puppets are inundated with work. We've got tons and tons of projects on at the moment, and so I have, even though all the new characters that I built, and we've got a lot of new characters, are built in the latest version of Character Animator. This head that I'm using right now, this was the very first puppet I built right back at the start, and it was built in beta, so I am still using beta at the moment. But like I say, it's not because I prefer beta. There's tons and tons of great new features in the latest version of Character Animator, and this head would definitely benefit, especially the touchscreen, trigger system that the new one's got. But I just haven't had time to get round to updating it. So there you go. I'm using Character Animator, and the software that I used to build the head was Adobe Animate, which was obviously formerly Flash. And then I particularly never use Illustrator to set up the rigging. I always rig up in Photoshop, and then I bring it into Character Animator. And as you can see right now, Antony is presently showing us how he builds his characters, and then we'll see how he brings it into Character Animator. Are we going to see tonight how you bring it into Character Animator? Are you going to get that far, Ant?
Possibly, to an extent, I think.
Even if it's just a basic version, like a loose rigging. You don't have to
Yeah.
rig up all the mouths or triggers or anything like that. Just
Yeah,
show.
we can bring up. Well, we can at least get to the stage where we're rendering. You know, we can render the character out and bring that in and show at least how we get one mouth shape or something in.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So okay, look, now I've made all my mouth shapes in ZBrush and copied them over. If the link worked like it should do in Lightwave, which it normally does, but isn't on my computer for some reason, I could have actually just copy them to each morph target individually, but that doesn't seem to be working at the moment. So I've got to kind of do a workaround and copy them in, but it doesn't matter. I'll show you the process now. I've got to then take each face. So I've got this is my original file. I bring in the mouth shape, and then I transfer that to a morph target. So I've now got face shape, morph target for A. And we'll get E. So view carrier, Scott. This will take a while. It's the same process now.
Yep, no problem. Right, okay. I see that Paul's it's just sent us another message saying, sorry, I meant to say, what software are you using to alpha channel the characters out with? So I think he's asking what software we're using to actually stream live, I'm assuming.
Well, to alpha the channels out, he's probably on about... what we're using is the NDI link to vmix. If you explain about that, basically, NDI will send the character to vmix or OBS or Wirecast or anything like that with a transparent background.
In fact, if you go onto our YouTube channel and look back on the videos that we've done a few videos explaining exactly the software that we use, vmix, the NDI setup. It's all there. They're not long videos. They're relatively short, just a couple of minutes. And they walk you through our setup. If you have any questions in regards to what we explain in their videos, just post a comment in the video below and we'll normally send you an answer, within a couple of hours. Obviously, there's a time difference between the UK and the US. A lot of people that tend to get in touch with us are from the US. So if we don't reply to you immediately, we'll probably sleep. But we will get back to you within 24 hours.
Yeah, like I say, we're always happy to help or give any advice or anything like that. So, just ask. Like I say, it just gets a bit tedious. It's one of them things.
What's tedious?
Just doing this. Like, go for each mouth shape.
Yeah, well, that's what you should have Blue Petered it. Now, for anyone who doesn't understand who Blue Peter is, in the UK there was a TV show called Blue Peter, and basically it was I don't know, how would you describe Blue Peter, Ant?
It was a rubbish kid show.
It was kind of like an educational show. You had presenters, and each show they would tell you something. It was news for kids, and there was also like arts and crafts on it. And it was very well known, particularly in the 80s, in the 70s, for making your own toys. And what they do, they start off, they show you how they're making it. So they get the cup, they start painting it. They say you do this, you do that. You get the paper mache. But obviously nobody wanted to sit around and watch somebody make Tracy Island for 2 hours. So they do most of it. And then they pull out one that they made earlier. And I think that's kind of what you should have done with this, and you should have built it first.
That's what we normally do with any of the videos that we make. I just thought, with this, there's it is literally just showing what I'm doing, and we can chat while we're doing it. This is how we go about it. If anything goes wrong, I will address that as I'm going through it, because each one of these this character is completely different to any of the others that I do. So. Yeah, I could have pre-recorded it all and cut it all out, but I mean, we can go back over this video and we can make an edited version. But we might as well just.
But we probably won't.
No, but we actually no, we probably will. I probably will edit this down and make speed up some of the bits and that. But I will try and make some.
Well, you did something tutorials. Quite. You did something over Christmas, didn't you? You did the Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Version, and that was in 2D,
Yeah.
and you got both the slow version and the long version.
Yeah, that was just me going through how I made it. I mean, ideally, we would love to be able to put those characters up for download and stuff, but obviously they're not our
Yeah,
characters to give away.
we've been asked a lot for us to put both the Morty and the Rick characters up on our store, either for sale or for free, and I'm afraid we can't do either because I'm pretty sure we will get sued.
Yeah.
So those characters will never ever go out to the public. However, if the producers of Rick or Morty wants them characters, feel free to get in touch.
Yeah. Or if they want us to give them away, they need to give us permission.
Yeah, that ain't never going to happen. Talking about Rick and Morty, there's a bit of a kerfuffle going on at the moment, ain't there? Because season 4 hasn't officially been renewed yet, which means season 4 isn't even being worked on yet, which means the season 4, if and when it happens, isn't even going to come out for at least another year.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, it hasn't. Because season 3 was already being worked on and commissioned before season 2 went to air. So, there was only a year. Because, like shows like The Simpsons, Family Guy and whatnot, they got a rolling contract. So, even when one season gets finished, they're straight away working on the next season. But that hasn't happened, apparently, with Rick and Morty. However, the creators of that show are known for, winding up the public and whatnot. So for all we know, they really could be working on it at the moment. So it'll be a big surprise when it comes out on time. But I'm not sure. It's all a bit quiet at the moment. The show is written by Dan Harmon and Justin Rowland or something like that.
Yeah,
Justin Rowland. I think Justin is he was the original animator, but obviously I think a lot of these high-level animations get sent off to Korea nowadays. I think they storyboard it. They might even keyframe it. I'm not sure, but most of it goes off to South Korea. Sorry, not North Korea. Is that what? Did I say North Korea? They'll probably get the animation cheaper there, but Anyway, it's a long process. It's still traditional animation. So if they are really arguing over the negotiation of season 4, then it might be quite a while before we see it again. I can't see.
I'm just going to explain before we carry on. What I'm doing now is I've got all the morph targets for the head in here, like you can see down here, E, F, L. What I've got to do now is match up the teeth and the tongue. So I'm just going to go through and move these into place.
And what program are you using at the moment?
I am now back in Lightwave. Yeah, that's my mouth shape.
So, like I said, I've never really taken the time ever to look at 3D software. I've been fortunate that my career as a 2D illustrator, animator, and all that has been, worked out really well for me. So, however, that said, if I ever wanted to animate a 3D puppet, not build a 3D puppet, let's say if you built a 3D puppet and said, right, Scott, we got a humongous 3D project done. We need all hands on deck. I need you to do the animation for me. I'm assuming that
plenty. I need you to do.
Yeah, well, I've got plenty in myself that I'm working on. What we need is to get our studio, get into a bigger studio, and start getting extra employees down working with us.
Yes, that is what we actually do need.
Because the thing is, we can build all the, we can build all the rig characters, but then you could get an animator. You could pass them characters onto an animator then and you can character animator. It's great. I was, if I was doing a full animation, I'd probably, go hand in hand with
it kind of
animate.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
I'll do animate to do like a lot of the full fluid scenes, But any kind of close up talking, a lot of animation is, you look at Family Guy most of the time, they're just stood still talking, and
It's
that could
great for
totally be done
speeding
in
up lip
Character
syncing.
Animator.
But like I
However,
said,
if you took the time to build a complex puppet, there's actually no reason why you couldn't create a whole show with Character Animator. You could create even a 2D character that's fully 360, that turns around, walks here, there, and everywhere. You
well,
could create a whole
people
show.
have done it. I mean, Dave's been working on his robot uh, show as well. But obviously, like you can either use it as a way to speed up lip sync scenes or just profile scenes and stuff like that. It's just another tool in the box.
I'll tell you who I'd be interested to talk to. The creators behind that President show in America. What's it called?
Like the Trump one.
The Donald Trump one. Our President or something like that. It's a bit like, it looks a bit like Spitting Image that used to be on in the UK back in the 80s. But I'd love to talk to them and find out, because I know they use Character Animator a lot. But I'd like to know if they do it all completely with Character Animator, or if they're using other programs like, I think they use After Effects as well.
You would need a compositing program, yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, you obviously need the editing program. I mean, me personally, if I was doing it, I'd be using Premiere. But
see, I use After Effects. I use After Effects for everything.
If I was animating, I'd be doing any animation that I couldn't do in Character Animator. I'd be doing in Animate, and then I'd be bringing it all into Adobe Premiere to edit it all together, which is the way I work. I never really ever use After Effects.
I'd say I never use Premiere. I always use After Effects. I mean, but yet again, that's down to just preference.
Personal
I mean,
preference. But then they're all pretty similar.
Well,
there really shouldn't be any problem slipping from one to the other.
Well, Premiere's a video.
Premiere is just Premiere is just a video editing.
Whereas After Effects is
After Effects.
Yeah, it's for effects.
High level.
Obviously, I used it for
special
effects
effects and
work all
whatnot.
the time.
Yeah.
I just got used to it. So I'm kind of coming to the end now of my. Like I say, like this is just really quick speed.
So okay, what are you doing right now? Is this you're building the rig for the mouth? You're just building inside of the mouth, so you're getting it all ready for your morph shape or whatnot.
So,
I know you're just going to concentrate on building one mouth for the moment, or
what do you mean?
Are you doing all the mouths?
This is all the mouths. This is all the mouth shapes.
So have you Z brushed all the mouth shapes already?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
That's what I've been doing.
I was like.
So that's what I'm saying. Now, if you look, I've got all my mouth shapes here. So I've got yeah, generally like just basically I've got them all ready now in the character. What I do need to do is inside of his mouth.
Talk us through the process, Ant. What you're doing? What's happening?
Just retexturing the inside of the mouth to look darker. What I'm doing at the moment. Let's see. I say there's no point me going too far into like what I'm doing because you'd have to explain how the software works.
Yeah, but there might be people out there that are in fact, most of the people who probably watch this are 3D animators interested in maybe converting some of that 3D skill and using Character Animator. So let's just assume that you're talking to a 3D animator out there.
Like I say, if anyone wants to...
Don't have to try and explain it to me.
No, like, if anyone wants to know anything, then feel free to ask questions. I'll clarify anything as I'm, working through. But I'm just doing a bit of texturing on the inside of the mouth now, so it a little bit darker. The only other thing I need to do now is I need the pupils will need to go on a separate layer because there will be a separate thing. Also, the eyebrows will need to be on a separate layer because they will need rendering separately. Like I say, it's good to just kind of break the character apart into the elements that you want to render out separately. Eyelids. I'm gonna have to animate them. Very poorly made eyelids, but
We should have some background music.
I was thinking that earlier. We do need to have some back. I found that on the other video that we did. It was really good to have just a little bit of music playing.
Oh, what? The Find the Dog thing?
Yeah, just a little bit of ambient music.
Well, obviously last year we did, I think we started, it was it was around this time last year that we first started doing our live character animator videos when we started doing the interviews, and we did them every Tuesday pretty much. I think we only missed one Tuesday, and we did it every Tuesday right up till December when we did our last one. And since the start of 2018 we haven't done any more, and the reason for that is that we've actually been really busy. We have been doing shows using Character Animator, just not this one. We've been experimenting with some marketing ideas, pushing the usages of what you can use Character Animator for. I'm not going to get into that now because actually that's a whole show in itself, talking about the benefits of Character Animator and how you can use it to, in your professional career. So we'll get into that on one of our following shows. But needless to say, we've been really, really busy. We've had on some really big projects, and we just didn't want to stop and start. So we've just been wanting to get some of them projects completed, and as of now, May, we still got a lot on, but we're not ridiculously busy. We had a lot of really tight deadlines that we had to work to. So yes, we are back, and we are going to commit to being back once a week and talking about Character Animator, giving some tips and answering questions.
Getting some more interviews back again as well. Back into interviewing some people. And I want to start doing a bit of a spotlight as well. Getting to see what other people are doing, Character Animator, and like I say, and interviewing them and seeing how they've gone about it and what they've been doing. We've got loads of stuff to do and talk about.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to other people that use Character Animator and find out, how if their process is any different to ours, and how much they use it and what benefits they see in it.
Yeah, try and ignore the way I'm doing these these eyelids. It's like the worst thing I could have done, really. But I've kind of started, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to make a really poor blink.
Right, well, whilst you're working on that, have you got round to watching Avengers Infinity War yet?
No, I wouldn't recommend talking about it because I don't want to know what happens. Trying to stay clear of finding out who dies.
Oh, you haven't watched it yet?
No, I haven't had a chance.
Have you had any spoilers? Have you seen anything online that has given away? Because yeah, it's quite a big, thing happens at the end, which if you kind of know about it, then it'll, spoil the surprise.
Wrong way. Done this backwards. So why it's not concentrating properly? Well, the easiest thing to do is the blink, and
Come on, you got to talk us through what you're doing.
At the moment, I was messing up the eyelids, but now I've got all my morph targets set up, so I'm going to bring this into the rendering software. Lightwave's made in two parts. You've got the modeler and layout, so you've got a part of the software that you use to make all the models, set all that type of stuff up. And then the next part of the software is where you do all your rigging and rendering and lighting and all that type of thing. So that is where I am now. Like I said, I am not. There's no point me going into the ins and outs of Lightwave and how it works compared to other softwares. I'm just gonna show what I'm just making a character live on air and going about it, mistakes and all. So let's go. Like I said, I'm going quite quickly as well at the moment. Normally I take my time and actually think about what I'm doing, so I'm trying to just burn through this, so I'm not taking up too much time. But I'm now just adding the bones of each of these right layers. Yeah.
The thing is, what people also have to realise, in case you haven't already guessed, or if you're not a prolific user of Character Animator just yet, is that you cannot actually use a true 3D character in Character Animator. Effectively, Character Animator is a 2D software. So even though Antony is building a 3D character at the moment, what's going to happen is that it's going to render it out, I'm assuming, as PNG sequences, and those are flat images, which you will then be bringing into Photoshop, which will then be brought into Character Animator. So even though the texture, the image, the design looks 3D, it still is only working on a 2D basis. You won't get a true 3D, turning around motion going on. If you want the character to turn left and right, then it's going to have to render the character out in those poses and then put it into Character Animator and then feed it into the Character Animator. Because obviously in Character Animator you've got frontal, you've got like your 3/4 position, and you've got your profile. Though obviously you could use them to do other angles as well. Actually, that's a question, Antony.
Yeah.
How many? So I've not even tried it myself yet. In Character Animator, are you just stuck to those, frontal, left, and profile? Or can you add more? Can you add more in than that?
No, I think you no. You've only got what are there. I don't think you can add. You wouldn't be able to add any more in. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. So if you wanted,
if it was a trigger, might be a way of doing it.
Yeah, you'd probably be able to. We always seem to find a way to trick these things.
Yeah, there's not one by default. But
I mean, you could definitely, off the top of my head, I can think how you do it for timeline animation. It wouldn't be a problem. You could basically you just build a couple of different puppets. So if you wanted a character to turn all the way around, you'd have one puppet that would turn, to the side, and then another puppet that would go from the side to turning around a little bit to being all the way back. But if you wanted to do it live, then I don't know if that would be possible without having to switch character, which obviously wouldn't be a fluid thing.
Okay. What I'm gonna do now.
1 second though, before you just get onto your next part, I just want to read a comment here from Wow Designer. I did a similar process a few months ago. What process are you referring to there, Wow? Are you talking about the 3D process that Antony's working on at the moment, or in regards to what we're talking about in trying to make a character turn all the way around? Again, I know how you do it if you're just animating in a timeline, but if you wanted to do it live and you wanted it to be a fluid turning around, obviously you can always, make him turn backwards if you made him his backward pose on the profile one. would that be quite a sharp cut from front to back? But yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. What's he saying? 3D to Photoshop to Character Animator. So
Yeah.
obviously you must be talking about what you're doing right here at the moment.
Yeah.
What
I mean,
3D
like I
program
said,
did you use?
yeah, because like it can be done. This is just my process, but if you do know how if you can render something out in 3D, then you can bring it into Photoshop and make it into a puppet. I mean, you can do the same with photography or 2D drawings, scan pictures. It doesn't matter. It's just once you get that 2D image. But what I like about the 3D is that you can render cycles, and it keeps all your shadow. So if you do have a turn, it keeps the lighting and it keeps the shadows and it gives it that 3D depth, which is quite nice. We've been working on some we can't actually show yet because they haven't gone out live, but when they do, we've got some quite impressive characters that we will hopefully be able to showcase at some point. Yeah, at the moment now as well, I've got all my, if you can see on here, I've got all my mouth shapes, and you can see, like you say, Scott, you haven't actually seen how like you get the frames. I set each one. It's got on a slider. This is how I would set it up. Each frame I would normally, we've kind of worked out 2 frames is all you need now. So, camera. Animation going on everywhere. Let's see. So, yeah, so say if I wanted to set frame 2, I want to do the A mouth shape. And that's it. What I would then do is render out those 2 frames of animation. And this is what you would use for your cycle layer between in Photoshop to create the puppet. And what I would then do is go through each one of them one by one and render them out and then build it in Character Animator. We're getting on to, I think we're going to have to stop this in 15 minutes. So I think this is kind of like the good way to show the first bit of the process. This is like literally at the halfway point now. All the morph targets are made, the character's in position and ready to render. So when we come back and do video 2, which will show us rendering out each frame and then putting it together in Photoshop. Or I mean, I could even what I might do is, like you say, do repeater style, pre-render everything out, but I will also go through the process of how to render it and get it into Photoshop. But
yeah, I think we wanted to do it live tonight because we haven't done a live video since Christmas. But I don't think the next part needs to be live. In fact, part 2 could be you taking, the 3D renders and bringing it into Photoshop and then bringing it into Character Animator. But it'd probably be a lot better to do it as an edited video where you talk through the process and, skip over the long winded parts.
Wild Designer said, lots of masking involved in Photoshop. What I'm going to show is to kind of get away with the whole masking issue is I render this character out in layers. So this is why I kind of split it all up. It kind of stops the whole issue for masking. I'll show you now. So if I turn the arms off, turn the body off. So essentially I would turn off the pupils and the eyelids, and I would be so I'd render this out with my 2 frames, the A, then I'd do D, E, F. Each one of them will get rendered out. I'd render my blink as well, and each one of them would make the layer for Photoshop. And like I said, I wouldn't have to do any masking then. That's in place. I drag it in. It's in its place. I then render the body out as a separate layer as well, and then do the arms out as a separate layer. But like I say, video 2, I will go through all of that. And also, like I say, feel free to leave a comment. If you want me to do the next video next week live, I will do it live. Or if you want us to do it as a pre-made video, we can do it as a pre-made video. What I will do is this video will get edited at some point, and we will just, I'll do a brief talk over and compact it a little bit.
This particular video can stay up as it is, but we can release an edited version where it's trimmed right down to the essential parts that people need to know about.
Yeah.
And also, what are you doing with this puppet once it's finished?
Once the puppet's finished, I will be putting it up on the store.
Is that going up for sale, or is it going to be another one of the freebies?
Don't know yet. I haven't decided. Probably put it up for free.
I reckon what you should do is at the end of the video, we'll put it up for free for our fellow animators out there that just want to back engineer it and whatnot. So we'll, watch the video. We'll let you know exactly when it's going up for free and for how long. So we'll give you a window of opportunity there to download it, and then it'll probably go on for sale for, I don't know, 20 quid, something like that. Yeah. But it will be free, so keep a lookout for it and don't miss out on that. And it's the way I learned Character Animator in the beginning was just back engineering the whole process. Anyway, talking about animation, Bruce Butler said, Scott, what was the book you was talking about earlier? The book that I was talking about earlier is the Animation Bible by Mr. Richard Williams. Williams.
Animator's Survival Kit.
Yeah, the Animator's Survival Kit or Survival Guide, something like that. But just put Richard Williams animation book. It's a very iconic book anyway. It's a big white book, and it's like a bunch of characters standing in a line. There's like a green duck, a metal ball, a lady, or just kind of walking in a row. Very iconic, and it is massive. It is really detailed. It explains everything from mouth shapes, hand shapes, squish and squash, anticipation, follow through, secondary action. It is really in-depth stuff. And if you don't know who Richard Williams is, he is the person who was the mastermind, the head animator behind Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He worked on... Bloody hell, what else did he work on? He worked on a ton of stuff. Look it up. Wikipedia. I don't know. I'm not an encyclopedia. You know what? I love watching history programs. I love reading books, biographies. I like anything like that. I devour the news. Yeah. Do you think I remember anything? No. I forget everything. I'm terrible. So never come to me and ask me for. I can remember vague stuff, and I remember the gist of something. But I can never remember the fine detail of stuff. I'm good at figuring stuff out and creating stuff and coming up with ideas. Great at that. But reciting information that I've read in a book or seen in a program a year down the line, forget it. And Antony can't remember what he did last week, so I don't think he's any bloody better.
My mum, I literally can't remember what I did earlier on today. It's terrible. I have to write everything down. But I think we'll wrap up tonight. Like I say, it was just a live kind of walkthrough of what we're doing, and we'll either make another video to show the completed process, or if any, put in the comments if you want us to do it live, we'll do it live. The whole idea of doing it live was if anyone wanted to ask any questions as we're going, feel free. And then, like I say, if we do it live again, if there's any questions about this video that anyone's watched, save them till then, and we're happy to answer it, and talk it through and explain. You know, I can go into a bit more detail while I'm working on it in an area that someone's inquiring about.
Thanks, Bruce. There's a comment there from Bruce again saying, thanks guys, great to have you back. Good to be back. Sorry it's taken so long. It was not intended. We've just had on some really big projects, and in fact one of our future shows will be about one of those projects. One of the issues that we kept running into when we was pitching the usages of Character Animator is that even though you folk out there, you fellow animators know all about it, the majority of the world still do not know that you can actually turn a 2D cartoon animation into a live animation. They just don't understand that you can actually do it. So when you're trying to explain the benefits of Character Animator and how you can now create a lot of content either live or very, very fast or make it interactive, they're just not 100% understanding what's going on. So what we ended up setting up was a campaign. We set up a kind of interactive marketing campaign, and it went on for about a month. And it was a local based game where we got a character, and it was like a elaborate hide and seek game with prizes that was given out. And people locally spoke to our cartoon character on Facebook, and he explained, like they'd ask him questions and I'd try and get clues to where he was. And then we also used the character, our Character Animator character, to make lots of videos really, really fast. So we did that for a month, and it's a great little example now. So when we are pitching projects to big companies, we can say, right, look at this. This is exactly what we're trying to do. We will go into that in a lot more detail in a future show. And as I said, next week, we will be talking to Dave Warner and catching up about how Character Animator has evolved from the early days when it was still in beta. Right, so before we say ta-ta and go off, does anybody have any questions? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to type down a question you might have about Character Animator, and then we are saying toodaloo. So right, here we go, 10 seconds. 10, I'll make it slow. 9, 8, 7.
All right, we're going.
6.
And that's bye from us.
5. Hang on.